This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show.
Hey, what up? Happy Thursday. Yeah, it is in the Off the Wall Mancave. And it's a big show today. Marty Mornhinweg will join us, the former Griz quarterback, head coach, or not head coach, great assistant coach in the National Football League. And also puts on a great summer camp for quarterbacks. And he will break down Cat Griz. He also does analyzing for Griz games on Script Sports. So he will stop by and talk about Cat Griz. Who does he want to win? Who does he think will win? And we'll see if we can get him to say Cat Griz instead of the other way. That is all coming up. We'll give you our winners for this weekend's state championship games. Who do we think will win? And also Cat Griz. And we'll have a flashback to 6 years ago. A flashback to the past. Oh, I always love this time of the year and the Thursday before Cat Griz. You can watch the show on Facebook, also on YouTube, Truth Social, Rumble, and more, and also listen on Podbean, Network One Sports, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeart, Apple, Google, and many more great places. Let's see here. Anything in the news to start with? I mean, basically it's Cat Griz week and state championship week. I mean, that's basically all it is. That's what everybody's focused on. I know Frontier basketball's in play. You've got Frontier Conference tournament up at, or first round of the NAI tournament for volleyball being played, at Tech, Western, and Carroll. But right now, all they care about is getting it done on the football field. And we'll give you our winners in just a little bit. It is going to be a shortened edition of the show, the little one with ballet rehearsal, and got to go pick her up. So going to have a very shortened edition today on the show, which is fine. Totally fine. I'm sure you'll be okay with it as well. The walk-up presented by Montana Disabled American Vets. Our volunteers are needed for our nation's heroes in the state of Montana. Get them to and for their appointments, their much-needed appointments, and great events throughout the year. Check out mtdav.org. Oh, man. Let's see here. I saw this, and I was like, let's see, where's it at? Where's it at? Oh, I don't know who wrote this article. It's on Montana Sports, but it says, the headline, Glacier has made it to the AA state championship again, and this time they're trying to win it all. You mean they weren't trying last year against Bozeman? I'm just throwing that out there because your headline makes absolutely zero sense. Let's see. Was it Derek Joseph? Great writer. Good TV guy. But the headline, and I don't know who wrote the headline, but that's on X. But yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Glacier's made it to the state AA championship again, and this time they're trying to win it all. No shit. They're not coming to Helena to try to lose. who has the advantage? Well, you heard from both coaches last night. You can check that out at jasonwalkershow.com. And that game coming up tomorrow, I'll be on the call for the NFHS Network. Looking forward to it and cannot wait to be at Vigilante. It'll be the first time in, a long time I've stepped foot in Vigilante for a football game. I think my son was playing back in 2017, the last time I went to a game at Vigilante. He was on the roster for Helena High, so yeah. Man, trying to wait for this to load. I think the computer's acting slow today. Oh, man. Love that. Good stuff. Always fun. Let's see here. Tickets for the Nutcracker, by the way, still on sale. Get them at Queen City Ballet. My little one's in it. Rehearsal. She got home at 8:45 last night. Tonight's going to be another night like that. It's kind of crazy for a 6-year-old, but she's loving it. She's making it through. She's kicking ass and taking names. So very, very awesome. So very proud of her. And she's keeping up with her homework, her schooling. It's all about hydration and eating. That is what Marty Mornhinweg would say. It is Cat Griz week. He'll be on the call with Ben Creighton, Ty Gregorick, Kyle Hansen, and Grace Lawrence on Saturday from Bozeman. Bobcat Stadium's going to be rocking. And joining us off the Wall Mancave to preview Saturday's big game is Marty Mornhinweg here, Jason Walker Show. Enjoy. Well, it is always a pleasure to chat with this young man, although he's not as young as me. But, Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jason. It's good to be with you. Let's rock and roll. It's Griz Cat Week.
It is Cat Griz and Montana State.
Don't fall for the alphabetical type thing. There's 2 ways to say this thing.
Okay.
Well, really, there's 3.
Oh, okay.
The Brawl of the Wild, the Griz Cat, or the Battle for the Brawl. Isn't that what was said last year? They made T-shirts and all that up.
I don't even remember. I'm not a fan of Brawl of the Wild. I know that's whatever, but it's rivalry week. I mean, it's Cat Griz, however you want to say it. But tell me about the job that you're going to be doing. You just talked to the coaches from Montana State. What's the feeling in Bozeman?
Oh, we talked to Coach Vegan, the head coach. Very confident. One thing when I was speaking to him that came up and I asked was, how about this trend of the home team not only winning the game, but destroying the opponent?
Yeah.
And have you put any thought into it? And he said, absolutely, he has. Mm-hmm. And his thought was much like mine. The momentum, when the home team in those 2 stadiums get the momentum, it's very difficult for the opponent to get it back. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happened in the last several meetings, is the first team, the home team scores first and wins the game. And because the opponent just can't get that momentum back. And so I'm sure Bobby Houck, the head coach for Montana, has spent many moments thinking about how to get the momentum back if the momentum goes against them, especially early in the game down there in Bozeman.
Coach, we've seen over the years, too, and those stadiums, we know how loud they can get. They're the 2 best in the country. But when you can't simulate that. I know pro teams have tried to do it, colleges. You can't simulate the noise in each other stadium. How do you think the Griz are preparing for the 20+ thousand?
Well, okay, so how do you get momentum back when you've lost it, right? Mm-hmm. Something blew up on you. How do you get it back? You go out and you execute with passion. That's the only way you're going to get it back. You don't need the heroics. That might come naturally.
Right.
But you just have that mentality. Let's go get our jobs done. Let's do it with a little juice. And let's get this momentum back, and then good things will tend to happen. And I think the road teams over the past half a decade or going on a half a decade just have been unable to get that momentum back. So interesting matchup. This is an interesting matchup. I will tell you that I did not call the game. UC Davis at Montana. That was an ESPN game, but I was watching it. And right off the bat, UC Davis was using the NFL-style silent count.
Oh.
Where the right guard looks back, the quarterback gives him the leg, he taps the center because the center's head's up, and the center does a head nod. There's many different ways to do it, and then snaps the football. Well, that blew up on him. They had 3, 4, or 5. They had one delay a game and then 2 or 3, maybe even 4 false starts early in the game. And my first thought was, they're trying to do the NFL-style silent count, and they haven't worked on it enough. However, once they got accustomed to Washington Griz Stadium, I don't think they had another clock problem or false start for the rest of the game, and it vaulted them to a 30-14 win, I believe, and they got the lead in the second half. So, but to do the NFL silent count and to become an expert at silent count, you have to start that in the off season.
Yeah.
And you have to utilize it on any road game, even if it's not that loud, just so your players become experts at that silent count. And that's the first college team I've seen come into Washington Griz Stadium and use that type of silent count. They're usually clapping or, the college type cadences.
Right.
But I thought that just for that one game, it may be worth it for Montana and or Montana State to use the NFL-style silent count off-season training camp. I used to try to get 50% of the snaps in training camp silent. Why? Because you play 8 road games.
Right.
And you play 8 home games. So you're going to use the silent count about half the time.
You mentioned passion, and there's a lot of passion in this game. We saw passion from Logan Fife and Bobby Houck, and I know it's behind everybody, and it's just, it's passion for the game of football. As a former quarterback and as a former quarterback's coach, did you like seeing that on the field last week?
Those things happen.
Yeah.
Now, as a coach, especially as the older you got, the more there's not going to be an issue at practice on the field or on the side. That's what the building's for. That's what your office is for. And so I'd much rather see it there.
Right.
Where after practice or after the ball game, you have the old come to Jesus meeting in your office. And I've had many of those, and you put it on the table. But it's an emotional game, and you call it passion. But I was happy to see Fife, the quarterback at Montana. You could imagine all the things going through his mind that was built up over many weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
And he went back at Coach Houck, and that typically will go one of 2 ways. The team will go downhill just a little bit because of that issue or other issues as well, or the team might get a little spur out of it. And I believe on TV, I mentioned iron sharpens iron. Well, you got to keep that edge.
Yep.
And so if they do it properly from that point on, which I think Coach Houck will do, it might give them a little edge, and you got to keep the edge sharp.
Marty Mornhinweg joining us, former Grizzly quarterback, NFL coach, and coaches his own camp in the summer for quarterbacks. But with this Cat Griz game coming up on Saturday, it's a huge matchup. We know that both teams are in the playoffs. Seeding is on the line, especially for the Griz. It's whether that first round bye or not. But when you look at the Griz, it's been so inconsistent, especially on that defensive side of the ball. We saw it last year. They stopped the run. 2 years ago in Bozeman, they couldn't. Is that the key to this game, really, is can the Griz stop the Bobcat rushing game?
Yeah, and before you get to that, let me take these glasses off. You mentioned my quarterback school. Yeah.
There you go.
I have so much fun doing the quarterback school, and the great Tommy Millott was there 2 years in a row. And so, I'm a Griz. When we're on TV, they like me to play it a little bit more down the middle, which I try hard to do. And so how in this state, I'm changing subjects a little bit, but how in this state, if you're a Griz or if you're it's hard to say, Bobcat, right? How do you root how do you root? Well, I'm a Griz. It's just that simple. I usually pick the Griz 40-0, on Friday night, when we're huddled up and preparing for the ball game the next day. And however, I root for the Zach Cruz and Jones from Sentinel High School and Tommy Malott, because I got to know him a little bit. And so I root for those guys, right? I don't necessarily root for the Bobcats, but I'll root for the guys, especially the guys from the state of Montana, to play well, do well, stay healthy. And then let's get back to your original question.
Yeah, can the Griz
stopping the run? The Griz don't necessarily need to stop the run, but it is a must. It is a must that they slow it down just a little bit. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, on an occasion, and it better be more than on a rare occasion, the defensive front seven needs to wreak some havoc in the Montana State backfield and get some tackles for some loss and put the Bobcats in a second and long or third and long passing type situation. Now, on the other end of that, I think the Montana State Bobcats have done a brilliant job with their quarterback, Tommy Malott. Mm-hmm. You remember when he was a freshman, they just went to what his great strength was, and that's running the football. This man is a great runner of the football at the college level. However, I knew from my quarterback school, he can throw the football and he can make good, quick decisions. He can throw the football with accuracy. He understands timing. So he had the quarterback instincts as well. So that bodes well for the passing game as well. So it looks to me like Tommy Malott has had about, give or take a few, about half the rushing attempts that he's had in years past. So first of all, they're keeping him healthy by doing that.
Yep.
Second of all, he's throwing the ball a little bit less than double of what he's done in the past. And so my philosophy, and I know this to be true, is how can you expect your team to pass the ball proficiently when you're down 10 points in a playoff game in the middle of the fourth quarter if you haven't done it all year?
Yeah.
So I think that was part of the big plan. The big picture plan was to get Tommy Malott a bunch of reps in the passing game, keep him healthy by minimizing how many times he runs. Now, he still runs the ball. Yeah. I think he's going on 600 yards this year, but it's about half as many, and it's kept him reasonably healthy. And the other thing it's done, Jason, is his yards per attempt in the running game are higher than any other year. So less amount running, more productive running. So the old thing with Lamar Jackson, let's say, I always wanted to thought once he got going. Of course, with Lamar, his rookie year, I lent to his great strength as well, running the ball. But as time goes on, you want to run the ball with those special type of runners at the quarterback position, just enough so it's always a threat to your opponent, and you're going to pop off some big runs doing it as well.
Well, and I've talked about this year with friends and even on the show, is that they're utilizing Tommy smartly, and he's playing smarter. Instead of trying to get those extra 2 or 3 yards and taking that extra shot, he's running out of bounds, and it keeps him healthy, keeps him on the field. And then they go down and score, and the defense, which is really good. Now, switch it gears. That Bobcat defense, how good is it, and can they stop the run with the double threat of Gilman and Osmo?
Well, it looks like Montana State has an outstanding defense, one of the very best in the country, it looks to me like. So if you're going to lean on the running game philosophically, right, over the course of a game or over the course of a year, you better be able to run the football against the very best defensive fronts in the country. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Right.
Right. So you can beat up on the medium or poor type of run defenses with a solid running game. But to win a national championship, you've got to be able to run the football with great production against the very best. So that will be an interesting matchup. Now, we talked about the quarterback, Logan Fife, got a little edge to him.
Yep.
And I suspect he's going to go out and throw it out all on the field. And I suspect that if Montana wins this game, they're going to do it with Fife passing the football to one of those outstanding skill men that Montana has.
Coach, I got to ask this, and I brought this up this week. When you look at special teams, and we know how great of a coach Coach Houck is on special teams, and when you have somebody special like Junior Bergen, but the Cats have that in Taco Dowler, this special teams matchup, I mean, nobody ever talks about it, right? And it's the quarterbacks, the lines, the rush, whatever. This special teams unit for both is really good.
They are. Both the core players in the special teams, meaning they're on kickoff return, punt return, those core players, as well as the specialists, meaning snappers, the holders, the kickers, the punters. Both teams are very, very good in the special teams. Both teams are coached at a real high level. Both teams emphasize and spend time at practice with the special teams. Some don't spend but half the time that Montana State spent on special teams. So, and in any one game scenario, man, the bounce of a ball or a returner making one move and hitting his head on the goalpost and those type of things, it may come down to a special teams play or two during this ball game that makes a difference.
Okay, this game's coming up Saturday. You're going to be on the call with Ben Creighton and Ty Gregorek. When you look at this game, take everything out. I know who you're going to, who you want to win. Is this going to be close or is it going to be a blowout? Because like you said, we've seen it.
Well, look at Jason. When I call the game, I go in to the stadium, and it's almost like I can't care what the outcome's going to be,
right?
Or I can't do my job very well,
Yep.
But now, before that and after that, I certainly root and hope that the Griz win every game. And like I said on Friday nights, it just has to be that I call the score 40-0 for the Griz. But once I walk into that stadium, I'm down the middle. Right. I'm rooting for both teams to play well, to play hard, to play with a little juice, and that will happen. I mean, there is going to be, they used to say the leather is going to pop. Now all those pads are plastic and other materials, but lay in the wood, they used to say.
Yep.
Well, that is going to occur Saturday starting at noon in Bozeman.
So is it close? Is it not? Whoever wins, is it close or a blowout?
Well, look, and I covered this last year because it was starting to be a trend rather than a coincidence that the home field advantage is so great at both stadiums that the home team not only won the game, they demolished the opponent. And so common sense tells you that Montana State is a huge favorite. I believe it's like 16.5 points in the state of Montana. Common sense tells you that if Montana State gets a little momentum early, that Montana may have trouble regaining that momentum, and it may turn out to be a big spread. However, if Montana can get a little momentum early and keep it at least parts of the game, keep a little momentum, then it may end up being a close game. I don't think that Montana can go in there against that Montana State defense and absolutely blow them out.
Right.
I think Montana State has too much defense. I think they have too much offense. We talked about special teams. I think that would be really, really low odds. I think big spread, Montana State, or back to a close game.
Before I let you go, I got to ask you this. You coached in biggest games in the NFL. You played in college. I mean, you've been around the game a long, long time. This game, it brings out everything, and that passion, the hitting, everything. How do you tell the guys how to channel that aggression into a controlled aggression?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Hey, let's go do our jobs. Let's focus on your job. Get your job done. We don't need the heroics, you know, and I think that's some of that is what has happened to the visiting team the last 4 years in a row, is that they've lost a little momentum and they think they need to do something heroic or great or out of the realm. No. Let's just go do our job. Let's execute with a little juice, with a little passion. And that's how you get the momentum back. So going into the game, the same things typically are emphasized. We don't need the heroic play. Those will typically come naturally when you're doing your job. You know, and I've correlated it sometimes to some of the great home run hitters are not actually trying to hit home runs, but the home runs come naturally,
right?
When you're going through the process of hitting the baseball properly. So that's sort of the mentality that both sides need going into the game. And I would, if I was a coach of one of the teams, I would just turn it loose. We've got to go on that field unafraid, no fear, unafraid of making a mistake. It's what that does for your players is it frees them up to play fast and furious. And that's what it's going to take to win the football game Saturday in Bozeman.
It'll be a great one. I'm looking forward to it, watching you and Ty Gregorick and Ben Creighton and Grace Lawrence and Kyle Hansen down on the sidelines. It's going to be a good one. Coach, have a great time down in Bozeman. Have a great call, and appreciate you joining us. Tell the family hi, please, your lovely wife, the kids.
I will. Jason, you know they're doing a pregame, Scripps Sports, and so they're sending Alex Eshelman's down there. She used to work for over on the east side of the state, and then she worked for the Big Sky, and she's working down in Vegas. So she and Jay Cohn, who's usually our play-by-play man, they're going to be in some Griz bar, a Griz watch party for the Griz Cat game down there in Las Vegas.
Oh, fun.
And so they'll do a couple hits on the pregame show. So make sure you turn into the pregame show and see Alex and Jay going at it in a bar down there in Las Vegas.
You know, Alex Eshelman's the greatest. I absolutely love her. She's so sweet. Of course, when you were inducted into the Montana Football Hall of Fame, she interviewed you. So the best decision I ever made was bringing her to that thing.
Yeah, she would do, I think she did like the red carpet and that type of stuff.
Yep.
She's fantastic, bright future in the sports world on TV for Alex.
Well, tell Mom hi, and looking forward to the call on Saturday. I'll be watching it while I'm at work, Coach.
Let's go get the Griz Cat game fired up Saturday at noon. Jason, good to talk to you.
Oh, Marty Mornhinweg. He is a rarity. He's great. And what a great family. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back off the Wall Mancave, and we'll give you our thoughts and predictions for the weekend in state championship football for Montana and our thoughts on Cat Griz. It's coming up next on The Jason Walker Show.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
For more than 20 years, Off the Wall Advertising has built a track record of success helping businesses like yours across the state of Montana. While working with hundreds of businesses, including Jason Walker Media, they have developed a system for success. Off the Wall Advertising utilizes indoor advertising, placing professional billboards in high traffic locations. Let Off the Wall Advertising show you how to get the return on investment you expect from every advertising dollar. Off Wall Advertising, along with the Jason Walker Show and Continental Divide Radio, have packages for even more bang for your buck. Contact Off the Wall today at offthewallmt.com to schedule a free consultation. If you are truly looking to get away for a weekend, let Auto Concepts get you started. Introducing the Overlander camping setup. The tent fits right on top of your truck, sleeps 3, and features an LED light bar and USB connections. It's easy to travel with and pack up to get you away from everyone and up off the ground. Auto Concepts also will get your rig detailed to look good for the summer to make sure your vehicle looks sharp inside and out. Auto Concepts does window tinting, lift kits, cattle guards, and more. Everything your vehicle needs. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals. There's only one place in Helena to cure your craving for Cajun cuisine, and that is Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys and catfish to jambalaya and much more, Cafe Zydeco has the best Cajun this side of New Orleans. And Cafe Zydeco cares about those that take care of us. Military, law enforcement, first responders can get your drink free as a way of saying thank you to those that protect us every day. If you're looking for a place to grab lunch or dinner, get the flavor of the Big Easy in Big Sky Country at Cafe Zydeco on Euclid in Helena. Casey Damon is a 6th-generation Montanan with deep roots, making her a true Montana insider. She knows all the best places from fishing and recreation to entertainment and local hidden gems. She grew up here, went to the historic Central Elementary School, and graduated from Helena High. She is proud of her Montana lifestyle and loves Montana history. Helena and Central Montana are great places to live, work, and enjoy, which is why she chooses to keep calling it home. Voted Helena's favorite realtor and Montana's best residential realtor, there's no wonder why people go to her for their real estate needs. Casey understands that selling and buying a home is complex and deeply personal. There's also a lot at stake financially and personally. This perspective on the process and the responsibility felt towards her clients drives Casey to truly be an expert at her job. She understands the market and all the variables involved in a real estate transaction, making sure you feel supported and that you have a trusted advisor by your side. To work with Casey Damon, give her a call at 406-465-6780 or text KACIE to 85377. Saturday nights are meant for dancing, fun, and good times, and Continental Divide Radio is your home for all that and more as we bring you the Joe Mitchell State Farm Country Dance Hour, followed by an hour of nothing but the best from the 80s with the Joe Mitchell State Farm 80s Party Hour. Celebrate the music of your memories with only the best country dance songs and music from the decade of decadence. The Joe Mitchell State Farm Country Dance Hour and the Joe Mitchell State Farm 80s Dance Party, Saturday nights beginning at 9 on Continental Divide Radio. Do you love to look at photos of Montana, from animals to landscapes and more? Are you looking for a place to get your senior pictures or family portraits done? Are you a business owner looking to upgrade the decor in your offices? Well, look no further than Mark LaRoe Photography. Mark has been shooting beautiful photos all across the Treasure State, from rodeos to portraits, and would love to work with you. Visit marklaroephotography.com to see many masterpieces of his work, then give him a call to schedule your own photo shoot. Or to purchase one of his fantastic pieces, stop by Spirit of the Big Sky Gallery on Custer in Helena. marklaroephotography.com. Got my girl by my...
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Oh, it's that time of the year. It's Cat Griz. Welcome back, Off the Wall Mancave. Rucker's Furniture brings you this segment. All right, Billy. We'll settle things down in the Off the Wall Man Cave, at least for now. Going to do our picks for this weekend's games. Starting Friday night, it's a game that I will be calling, so I will not actually make a prediction for Capital and Glacier. I just don't pick games that I'm calling. I just hope both teams have fun. Saturday, let's start with A. You've got Billings Central taking on Laurel at Herb Clint Field on the campus of Rocky Mountain College. I have not seen Billings Central play this year. I have seen Laurel. No, that was last year. So I haven't seen either team this year. I do know they're both very good. Laurel struggled to put away Havre, a very good Havre football team last week in the semifinals. I think I'm going to have to go with Billings Central in this one. Yep. Billings Central, 31-17. Okay? And this doesn't mean I hate your team. It just means I'm going with my gut feelings. Class B, Manhattan up at Malta. Oh, what a great game. Michael Stewart, quarterback for Manhattan Tigers. Wes Crott, head coach. Nick Oxart, the head coach, has Stockton Oxart at quarterback. These are two very dangerous offenses. Two fantastic offenses. And Manhattan back in it for the second straight year, and I'm picking the Tigers based off of just Wes Crott, everything his family has gone through with their twins this year, and one of them having a rare heart problem and has already gotten a couple of open heart surgeries, not even a year old yet. So I'm going to go with Manhattan at Malta. Manhattan wins 24-21. The Class C 8-man, Belt at Fairview. It's a long trip to Fairview for Belt, but I'm picking the Huskies. I just think the Huskies have a lot positive going on this year. Fairview as well, but I'm picking Belt. And we're going to go 42-34. – 42-34. There'll be a missed extra point. And in 6-man, Box Elder traveling down to Bridger. Actually left today to go down to Bridger and play. Big send-off at Box Elder. I have been to the town of Bridger once in my life, I believe. I used to live in Box Elder back in 2nd and 3rd grade when my dad was a teacher up there. They called me the albino Webster. I got my first perm, and I'm still not tall, but I was even shorter back then, so I was the albino Webster. I also got my first hickey in Box Elder. I'm not going to give you her full name. I was 2nd or 3rd grade. She was a sophomore. Veronica. Yeah. Held me down, her and a friend in senior class, in front of my mom's office, and got my first hickey. I am picking Box Elder in this one over Bridger. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be somehow 65-57 in that one. It is Cat Griz Saturday, and before I give you my prediction, I've been doing this for the last 6 years. I just like to replay it. After the Cats and the greatest timeout ever called in the history of sports by Jeff Choate in Missoula in 2018, this was the post-game show, a part of it. Learfield, Grizzly Sports Properties, Learfield Sports. It's Scott Guernsey. And his comments after the Bobcats beat the Griz in Missoula in 2018. Enjoy.
And caught the final few minutes of the Grizzly postgame show from Learfield Sports. Denny Bedard, Scott Guernsey, and this set me off.
What a great game. Marred in the end by, I have never seen, Denny, a more classless football team than the Montana State Bobcats. From throwing your helmets into the air at the end of the game, rushing the field, to parading around, going first to our student section with their teammates, to jabbing the flag on our grizzly bear to hawking loogies. I saw 24 players spitting on the bear, dancing, kind of doing a horse paw on the dirt thing. They ought to be ashamed. They ought to be ashamed, and it is the most classless thing I've ever seen here or anywhere that I've been a part of.
All right, so everybody knows I'm a Bobcat fan, and yes, I know they're Grizzly announcers, but for Scott Guernsey to call the Cat players classless is unprofessional. And I don't have proof of this. Some Bobcat players apparently spit on the Grizz logo at midfield after the game. Guernsey was upset at that.
Once again, this is why Montana State's always going to be the little brothers, because they just don't know how to do it. I mean, don't spit. Don't act like a child and spit on the grizzly bear. I mean, really? You're going to do that? You won the game fair and square. You made some calls that I was kind of thinking you were crazy on, and they worked out for you, and good job. You won on the scoreboard. But I tell you what, man, if I'm a parent and I've got kids and I'm thinking, hey, am I going to go to Montana or Montana State? And you look and see the classlessness that Montana State had today. It's like, I want those coaches coaching my kids? I don't think so.
That's Scott Guernsey from Learfield. Calling them little brothers, say they don't know how to win. Again, it's unprofessional. Let me tell you one thing, Guerns. I sat in Bobcat Stadium, and I've seen the Montana players do the exact same thing at Bobcat Stadium. Now, I'm not saying that either one is right. Don't spit. That's just gross. But for you to have the guts to say what you did makes you the most unprofessional broadcaster around. You need to grow up. You need to look in the mirror. This is a football game, people. At the end of the day, the better team won. The better team out-coached your team. And you didn't have the professionalism, Guernsey, to accept it. And you have a history of poor sportsmanship after your Grizzlies lose. Let's go back to a playoff game in the 90s. Grizz are on the road. You can play the entire game. And by the way, the Grizz got beat. A guy with a plunger was making some noise behind the Grizz bench, and at one point you turned around and said, let me go beat this guy to death with his plunger. Another road game in the 90s at Portland State. You're ranked in the top 2 or 3. Portland State, a terrible football team, beats the Grizz anyway. Some Viking players, listen to this. Let me see if this sounds familiar. They're dancing and whooping it up on the field. And you go into a couple-minute tirade about how the Grizz are so great and know how to win and lose with class. You don't. There's a lot more examples, but apparently this also happened at Idaho State not too long ago, I think 2003. The Bengal PA guy whipping up the crowd, just like your PA guy, just like I did at Bobcat Stadium for 16 years. And during that loss to Idaho State, you say that's Bush League. And then you take off your headset and yell at the guy with a lot of expletives. You want to talk about class, Scott Guernsey? Look in the mirror and get some.
There's also a gal on social media.
I was going to get that.
Yeah.
You want to talk about class because that comments are a disgrace to the broadcasting profession. You want to talk about class? Here's this story. This from Facebook, and this has been verified multiple times. Bobcat football players were hit on the sideline with human waste. Somebody actually took the time to go to the bathroom at Washington Grizzly Stadium and use a bag and then take it into the stands and then throw it at the Bobcat players. You want to talk class, Scott Guernsey? Why don't you talk to your fan base? Little fired up. And that's not just a Facebook rant. That is somebody people have seen this. I don't have any video of it. I don't have proof of it other than everybody's words that this happened. And I'm going to repeat this. There's dumb fans on both sides of this rivalry. Cats, Grizz, I don't care. There's dumb ones that ruin it for everybody. The FTC and the FTG, way too far. Flint Rasmussen, the famed PBR entertainer, he Facebooked it Saturday morning before the game. And I'll quote him, big game today. Fun to see all the passion for everyone's team around the state, but we sure can do better. The FTG and FTC deal has gained momentum the last few years. It's classless and frankly not that creative. I choose to cheer for my team. Go Bobcats. That's from Flint Rasmussen. Most fans in this rivalry accept at the end of the day, you know what? It's a football game. It literally does not affect you one way or the other, win or lose. That includes the players. There are more important things in life to worry about in this world than who wins a damn football game.
That was courtesy of Learfield from 2018, back when I had done this show for like a month at the sports station back, well, when there actually was a sports station in town. Anyway, Guernsey. And I've reached out to multiple people to try to have Guernsey come on. 6 years, still doesn't. It's fine, whatever. But yeah, I mean, the FTC, the FTG, let's, whatever. It is what it is. The feces story actually, again, happened, it was last year or 3 years ago in Missoula. And that was confirmed to me on, what day was it? Monday. So this has happened more than once, with somebody taking a shit at Washington Grizzly Stadium and throwing it at Bobcat sideline. I don't have any helmets up here. My wife is borrowing my Bobcat helmet for work, but it is Cat Griz week. Here's the thing. I want all the high school teams to have fun. There's like 49 players from Montana for the Griz, 47 on the Bobcat roster. There's actually a great breakdown, 406mtsports.com, about the ebbs and flows. And one thing Guernsey mentioned 6 years ago that I'll bring up again is the fact that he goes, if I'm a parent, which school do I want my kids to go? Well, for a long time, MSU's enrollment keeps going this way, up, and UM's enrollment keeps going down. And that's been going on for a long time. It's not just football. It's not just sports. It's academics as well. Oh, man. So I'm picking the Cats, obviously. 16.5 point spread. I like it. I'll take the over. It is rivalry game. Anything can happen. Who gets momentum early, like Coach Mornhinweg said. But it's all about the Cats, baby. Can they go 12-0, first ever regular season? First outright Big Sky title in 13 seasons? I like Tommy Malott, players. That run game for MSU is the best in the country. Their defense is 7th best in the country. I mean, there's a reason the Cats are number 2 in the country right now. And I'm hoping they get back to Frisco. But you'll hear this a lot, hopefully, on Saturday, post-game. Taking the Cats. Do I think it'll be 55-14 like 2 years ago in Bozeman? I sure as hell hope so. Griz can put up some points in a hurry, but they can also give up points in a hurry. I am going to say 52-17. I like it. And I'll be watching it. I've missed the Cat Griz game watching on TV the last couple years because I've been doing State B championships. But for NFHS Network. But I got the Friday night draw for Capital Glacier on NFHS, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Thanks to Marty Mornhinweg for joining us, our great coaches guest all week long. Kyle Mahelish, Grady Bennett, Nick Oxart, Wes Crott. You can re-listen to any of it at jasonwalkershow.com. If you want to agree, disagree, at JWalkerSports on the X. Get a hold of us there anytime. Also, Jason at jasonwalkershow.com. Oh, let's go Cats. Let's get it done. And fans, do me a favor. Behave on Saturday. Both sides. Both sides. You win with class. You lose with class. Have some dignity for yourselves. Don't get kicked out. Don't be a dumbass. Let's just have some fun and watch a good football game. We'll be back at it tomorrow for a finally Friday edition of Jaywalk in the Mornings, Continental Divide Radio. And looking forward to that. And we'll see you tomorrow night from Vigilante on the NFHS Network for Capital Glacier. Have a wonderful weekend, a terrific Thursday. Stay warm and drive safely this weekend. Could be some rain, freezing rain, drizzle, snow. But let's do it again next week. At least once next week. We'll recap the weekend in sports. All right. I got to go pick up the little one. Have a great weekend, everybody.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.